in a little over 2 weeks, the Bronx will be under some new leadership.
On January 1st, Vanessa Gibson will be sworn in as the 14th Bronx Borough President, becoming the first black woman to do so. Bronx Borough President-elect Vanessa Gibson joins us this morning to discuss her plans to make the Bronx better for the 1.5 million residents who live there. Good morning, Borough President-elect Gibson. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, too. First of all, how does that sound to hear that?
It sounds good. Many people have been calling me Madam Borough President,
Yes.
Madam BT.
That's
Right.
very cool. Well, you're about to take office as the Bronx still trying to recover from the pandemic. It was one of the hardest hit boroughs. And now with COVID rates back on the rise, where does the Bronx stand right now in terms of vaccination?
Well, I think a lot of residents, particularly older adults, have received the vaccination and are getting the booster. I think in light of the Omicron variant, we have to be more accessible in getting the vaccination and the booster available. We have to make the sites accessible and convenient. And I'm grateful that the mayor and the health commissioner this week announced an ambitious 6-point agenda to provide home COVID testing and options for residents that don't have to leave their home. Some are medically frail and they're homebound, and really making sure that we provide language access and cultural diversity. We know in many communities of color, there is a long history around vaccination. And so we have to get over that. We have to make sure we have doctors and medical professionals that are talking to residents in a way that they can understand.
Yeah, and are you seeing that there are enough testing sites and vaccine sites? Because we talked about this week, and our James Ford did some reporting on situations, I know it's not in your borough, but in Harlem, of these like deserts where there aren't testing sites and there aren't vaccine sites.
We have seen that, and we're working with the city. Obviously, we're working with many of our partners like Walgreens, Dwayne Reed, and CVS, so that residents can get the COVID testing right in their neighborhood, City MD. We've been working with healthcare partners all across the Bronx. So we just have to ramp it up. We have to make it more accessible and convenient for the residents of the Bronx.
Again, you're making history with this new role. You're taking over for three-term Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. You're the first non-Hispanic to hold this position for more than 30 years. So how do you plan to make your mark in that role?
Well, we are grateful that the voters of the Bronx have elected us as the next Bronx Borough President. It feels great. It feels honorable to succeed Ruben Diaz Jr. in taking over this new role. It is the greatest honor of my life to be the next Bronx Borough President. We're going to lead with compassion, with consistency. We have a track record of collaborations with elected officials and other stakeholders. We're going to think outside of the box and formulate public-private partnerships to really make sure that we invest in the Bronx.
Where do you see your big first, the first thing on your agenda? Because there's a lot of development taking place in the Bronx right now. Residents have certainly raised concerns, right, about affordable housing, gentrification. Is that a top priority for you to address those issues, and how so?
Absolutely. We're looking at economic development projects across the Bronx today, transit access like the Metro North expansion, the renovation of Orchard Beach, the Universal Hip Hop Museum, all of the housing you're seeing in the South Bronx, in Mott Haven, in Hunts Point, and West Farms, along the Harlem River, making sure we have access to natural resources and our waterways, creating jobs. The reality is we have to get Bronxites back to work. All of these projects will create those good paying union construction jobs, apprenticeship opportunities, and really provide a lot of access and opportunity for many residents and young adults as well.
Yeah, because unemployment really is a serious issue in the Bronx right now, isn't it? I mean, 30% of the residents live below the poverty line. So how do you plan then to change that under your leadership?
Well, we definitely are going to support projects that provide stability and create a pathway to the middle class. We cannot accept minimum wage jobs. It's unacceptable. Families need to earn a decent salary and not be rent burdened like many of them are, but we also need to look at ownership opportunities. We have to provide stability for families, keeping a roof over their head, eviction prevention, getting the hotel and retail industry back. As you know, it was decimated. Many of our residents are first responders and essential workers, so many of them were working during the pandemic, but other residents lost their jobs. So we have to find ways creatively to get them back to work.
And lastly, crime and gun violence on the rise across New York City, right, including in your borough of the Bronx. So how will you work with the new police commissioner to make the streets safer? And your thoughts on the PIC?
Well, as a history maker myself, I congratulate our incoming commissioner, Chief Sewell. Wish her well, look forward to working and partnering with her, along with Mayor-elect Eric Adams. Public safety is the #1 issue. Everyone has an expectation to be safe in the Bronx, no matter where you live.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that we bridge the gap. We create partnerships with NYPD. We work with the anti-gun violence organizations on the ground that are providing access for young people and mentoring them and keeping them out of the streets. The way to address gun violence is getting rid of the oversaturation of guns, the oversupply, the overabundance. But we also know that creating jobs and giving young people safe spaces like community centers is a way to get them off the streets, keep them productive in our community.
And just quickly, I think it's safe to assume you'll be working with the outgoing Department of Education Chancellor, Misha Ross-Porter, in her new role as well.
Absolutely. Yes, I am so proud of my sister. She's going to do well at the Bronx Community Foundation. We are good friends. She was the principal of Law, Government, Justice, as was David Banks, the incoming chancellor. So they are no strangers to the Bronx, to School District 9. So I look forward to working with Misha Porter in her new role. And I want to congratulate David Banks on becoming our new school chancellor.
There you go. All right, and do me a favor, okay, because I went to school in the Bronx, not too far from Lloyd's Carrot Shop. Do all you can to protect Lloyd's as an institution of the Bronx, okay?
Of course.
My goodness.
Yes, I love Lloyd's.
Best carrot cake you'll ever have, my goodness. All right, Bronx Borough President-elect Vanessa Gibson, good to have you here this morning.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.
Right back
You
at you.
too.